trying to figure out what we do on these big events as far as how we handle them at the gate, how we pre-notify, whether people are required to send somebody to help us in those particular kinds of situations. All of this we're going to be discussing with both the golf club and the town center people, which is where most of this is generated. We're looking at all of that. And also, we thank you for the approval on the fading lines. We thought that to repaint the lines, we think that's worth doing. I think that's about all I have to report. Any questions on that?
Oh, but I have a
Yep.
comment.
Sure.
We have a new mode of transportation in the community now. There's at least one or two people that have now purchased electric bicycles. And the question is, where are you telling them to ride? Are they riding like regular bicycles? And we're talking about, in two of the cases, I know they're vision impaired, so.
Mr. Magoo.
And they're doing that because they can no longer have driver's license.
So they decided this was better.
This will fix the
Yeah,
problem.
This will fix the problem.
They might
bicycle.
permanently fix it.
I would think there should be a bike lane, there's a bikes.
Probably some of
My
these
gut feeling
things,
says it's a bike.
some of these things can go 20, 25
Yeah,
miles
how
an
fast are
hour.
they
That's the
going?
problem.
It's a motorized vehicle.
No,
Yeah,
it's a bicycle.
It's like a golf cart, except it's a bicycle.
So they're
Have
going
a
about
bicycle
15
lane.
miles an hour?
Pardon me?
About 15 miles an hour?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how fast. They
I would think at least that.
probably, yeah.
They have very little electric motors on them, that's what I've seen. I don't know how fast they can go, they aren't a motorcycle.
Well, we'll defer this to the safety and security.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I saw a guy the other day out, it wasn't much more than a chair that was electrified, and he was going down Pelican Reserve Boulevard in it.
Down Maxwell Boulevard.
Yeah, he was out in the street.
And there are also, as I've seen a couple of these vehicles that are not quite golf carts.
But they're considered cars.
They are,
They're
there's one on my
considered
street, and they
cars,
actually
not
have a
golf
license plate.
Yeah.
Street where they
Have
have
to have
cars.
That's
seatbelts
correct,
and
yeah,
other
that's
kinds of
correct.
things.
Can't wait to see him on 75.
Yeah.
Yeah, do they need to get a golf cart tag?
Okay.
No.
No, because they have a
They have
license
license
plate.
plates.
Yeah,
They're
they have
registered
license
as cars,
plates.
absolutely.
They are a car.
They're a car.
Yeah.
They're cute.
Anyway, we will take that up and they consider it with them. Any other
I'll tell you after.
comments? Okay. Gateway meeting attendance schedule, I guess the next board meeting is this coming Thursday.
I think I'm on for that.
I think you're on for that, John.
Is that the 29th?
We,
What's the date?
21st.
no. What?
21st.
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 February. That's next
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah, 21st.
I don't have anybody down,
Yeah, John.
Yeah, I'm taking it.
We have two dates in March. It would be
but 7th,
the 7th.
I could do the 7th.
Okay, Joe will do the 7th,
and I can do the 21st.
and Bob will do the 21st.
Okay.
That was easy, huh? Okay. Moving on. Audience comments.
Good afternoon.
If you would step up and introduce yourself, please.
My name is Steve Citron. I live on Carina Circle. I'm one of the houses that backs the flowway. Just wanted to get a couple of questions. One was to just feel what PPAC's feeling was, and especially yours, Bob, on the way they're settling this issue with the flowway, with making that Carina easement a joint easement. Because contrary to popular belief, I don't think it was discussed with many of the homeowners, from what I've been able to discuss with other homeowners.
I honestly haven't done a lot of research on that, other than dealing with Phil as the rep at the time. But if you're asking for my gut feeling, and I told him this, I think it should have been built to design. My gut feeling was they should build it, period.
Okay.
But there was some feeling that people didn't want to have their yards torn up. So
think that may have been Phil's feeling. Does
Well,
anybody-
but let me give you one other further on that, just since we're talking. One of the comebacks this was quite a negotiation over a long period of time. But one of the requests from the Carina board was, or from Phil, I assume Carina board, the homeowners would like to be compensated, I think it was like $1,500 per lot. And we ran that up the flagpole to Lennar, of course, they got laughed out. And they said, no, we're not gonna do anything like that.
And I have no idea where that number came from, because I've spoken to about 7 different homeowners of the 25, and no one was ever even discussed that number.
Well, that was one of the things that came to us, and
It's not a number that most people would have accepted to do regardless. So we're now told that there are these drainage pipes that run behind the 25 homes, where the swale is, and that it now runs out to the storm sewers. Does
That's
anybody have any as-built drawings on this, of what this whole system is? Because, again.
For that street, we probably do. I'm gonna say yes, we do.
And how would we go about getting to see a copy of it?
I can get you a copy. You just shoot me an email and
I appreciate
I'll
it,
get
because there were, I don't know if you even saw this.
Well, without knowing about what's written in the.
Well, that's what Phil handed out at the Carina HOA meeting. And if you notice in the yellow or orange writing, he talks about these drains being behind every home, which one they're not, it's every other home. And he talks about from every drain, there's a perforated pipe running to the storm sewer, which, to be honest, makes no sense to me, because if there's a pipe running from every grate to the storm sewer, why would there be a pipe running the length of the flowway behind the homes?
Okay, the homes cannot discharge directly into the flow.
No, I understand that.
So, by design, they built
Correct.
a berm and they put a drainage pipe in there.
Correct.
So all of that water, by design, goes to the street.
Storm sewers,
That's-
correct.
That's the
Right,
design.
but if you read what he's saying, is there a pipe that goes along the flowway,
Kind of parallel.
connecting, and then a few pipes taking it to, because he says there's a pipe going to storm sewer at every drain point.
I can't speak to that specifically, but there is a pipe behind all the homes.
Right, okay.
And all of that water does go to the street, that's all
Correct.
correct.
Okay.
But there is, let me tell you, there is an easement along the entire length of the flowway to allow our maintenance activities, and I'm talking about Gateway District maintenance
Right, you know,
activities.
I understand there's that easement, which actually doesn't, which is not a problem, doesn't show up on my sites, on my my survey. The Carina easement does show up. I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, and the problem is the Carina easement had to be granted to them.
Right, exactly.
Because the other
Personally-
easements out of
Personally, I
water.
have no problem.
Because the other easement's in the water.
Right. The last thing is that these 25 homes are not receiving, you call them bubblers going to the other homes, I just call them drains. Drain the water coming out of the rear leaders coming off your home. That you're doing it basically on the ponds
Correctly,
because of possible erosion
absolutely,
in between those homes heading to the pond.
correct.
Well, what about the erosion that will be from the back of my home heading towards the flowway, which is stopped because of that berm, but heading to that berm?
There shouldn't be any, but that's theoretically, there shouldn't be any erosion back there, because you're not going into the flowway. It's stopping at the berm, it's hitting this pipe we have, this drainage pipe, and then being carried to the street.
So you don't feel it to be any erosion between the homes, from the back of my home till the area that it reaches?
No, I do not. We have not seen any evidence of that occurring in other homes that are similar to yours. And you're not the first one on the flowway, we've got a whole bunch of them on the flowway
Okay.
in other communities.
Because.
And now to the part about having additional drainage from the home, we're putting drains between homes also, for those homes that are on ponds. It's kind of as a convenience to the homeowner. But in communities or an area like you where you're not on a pond, where the residents or the board to want that installation on those homes, we can get that done for you at cost. But that's a board cost. So your neighbor across the street's on a pond, he's gonna get it.
Right,
You're not gonna.
which I'm paying for,
Well, absolutely,
which
absolutely.
I'm fine with.
No, it's not fair, I mean, I understand that.
I don't even
But
look
the
at that.
purpose of this is not to make your lot less soggy, although that's gonna occur.
Well,
The
I'm
purpose is
just
to
thinking
not have
about
erosion.
with the, going down into the future, when we get to this new irrigation system with taking the reclaimed water, and I've heard at CDD meetings, people from Gateway complaining how their backyards are swamps during the rainy season because it can be pouring for 4 days and the irrigation system is still
That's
pumping
true.
away.
We've seen that.
Yeah,
Yes,
I've seen
sir.
that
too.
It's automated.
So I'm just saying is that, well, now this hasn't been a problem, but now when you bring in this additional water in the rainy season, is that now gonna be a problem? And then is it gonna be addressed at that time if it needs to be? Or is it gonna be, well, we already did all of our work as far as this project goes. Sorry, it's not happening, you're on your own.
I might add that the city told us at our last meeting, initially they said we'll only get as much water as we need. At the last meeting, they said you're going to get X number of gallons that you sign up for, and there's no reducing it and there's no increasing it. And water will be running in your communities now for it.
Well, I know that is the case in Gateway. I have no idea what's gonna happen.
That's what the
Because they
city's
talk
told us.
endlessly about the sprinklers on Gateway Boulevard when it rains, and the answer is we pay for it anyway, gotta use it.
Yeah, and they're required to take it from the county, right?
Yeah.
And
I don't know
we
if
are
that's
go-
the same for us.
We are gonna be
Because
required
the
to take it
city's-
from the city.
Yeah, the city's gonna have the same issue. We're gonna have to take X number of gallons.
So the bottom line on my question, Bob, is this something that in the future, when this whole system gets going, if there all of a sudden becomes a problem behind, whether it be my home or one of my neighbors, with drainage issues because of all this water, will that be addressed by this group or the CPD?
It'll absolutely be addressed if you are experiencing erosion behind your house going into the flowway. Absolutely, that's ours.
Well, it won't be actually going into the flowway because it won't get over that berm, but
Well,
it'll
then
be
it won't
going towards
If it's-
erosion,
If it's just
towards the
marshy,
flowway.
if it's marshy and wet, probably not.
That I understand.
But we may be able to help you with additional drains, bubblers we call it. And that would be an appropriate use of the right funds.
Thank you very much for your
Bob, I
time.
make a comment on that too. There's no residents that have to take water in their yards. If they have water getting soggy in their yard, that's their control. We're turning it on and off, not ours. We're running water.
Well, I was thinking in terms of rain,
Yeah. Well,
not
we're running-
irrigation.
we're
Well, yeah, I can go in the backyard, open up the box every time it rains a lot and go and turn the valve off so that when water's supposed to go onto my home, it's not.
Right.
But if 50% of the people of Pelican Preserve did that, well, we wouldn't be using the water we'd have to use. So we'd have other issues and it would become a finable offense if you shut your water off at your house.
Well, and part of that too on the boulevard, because we do have a certain amount, but the fact is that out of 100% of our irrigation system, only 25% of it is reclaimed water we have to take from the county. The rest of it, we make up with our groundwater wells, which we can shut off. So it just happens that at some times when you're getting raining and a lot of people are shutting their irrigation system off and because we don't have an alternative disposal for it, so it goes out there. But we have a project in the budget where we're gonna start sending it down the Florida Power easement and use it with big sprinklers and discharge the water out there. So, but there's no, I mean, we do have to take that 25%.
Well, I just laugh when I was in the meeting here, talking about turning it on in the rain.
Yeah, and it does, if it comes daily, but that's on the district's mainline irrigation system, not on any of the property owners.
Good point.
Steve, thank you for your comments, I think.
Thank you for hearing me out.
Any other audience comments?
I failed to say.
Committee member requests?
Yeah, I failed to say it in my report, but the fish signs and the pond signs are final at the printer and should be out shortly. So this is Cypress Grove neighborhoods where some of the old signs are fading and we don't have all the fishing areas designated with new signs. All that's being addressed, and I hope we'll have that done within the month of March, completed.
Any other comments by members of the board? Nancy?
Yeah, I do have one. We have a problem in the sense that we have a benefit that accrues to certain Pelican residents, but it's very hard for other Pelican residents to take advantage of it. There's something called a passport bus that will take people with qualifying handicaps. And because parts of our community are along the bus route that goes to Colonial, they are entitled to call this bus and it'll pick them up and take them to their doctor's appointments and do whatever, and it's $3 a pop. Now, they have to get approval county and go through all kinds of applications and so forth. But the rest of Pelican, people can get qualified, but getting a bus, and it's more expensive to come to them, is almost impossible. So.
When you say the rest of Pelican, I'm sorry.
Like, well,
You're saying-
your neighborhood would be covered,
Yeah.
mine isn't. If I want,
Neither's mine.
if I want a bus to come to my neighborhood, I could wait forever, because you have to call ahead and make a reservation, and they're never available and so forth, where if you were in the corridor, like where you are, you call whatever the time period is ahead, and this bus will automatically come and pick you up. They will come inside Pelican's gate, but they can only go just so far. And it's depending on how far it is, how far the crow flies from the bus route, as to how far they can come in. The suggestion has been made, if there is some way, and maybe this is something to think about for the next budget, but to find a way to put a little golf cart parking area or a turnaround area that other residents could drive, have somebody drop them off at, kind of like a little bus stop, drop them off at, where this bus can come inside the community and pick them up. I think we ought to try to give that some consideration. So it's not just the people in the front, but it's any kind of qualifying disability. So people in wheelchairs, people with vision issues, people with, whatever, if it's a qualifying handicap.
So you're suggesting that kind of area should be on some kind of, could be on some CDD property? is that
Yes,
right?
it could be on CDD property. And I don't know how elaborate it really needs to be, even if it's just like a bus stop where, if my husband could, if I needed it, my husband could drive me down and I could wait at the bus stop and get picked up inside the community bus stop.
You're qualified, your front porch would work well.
Oh, and your driveway, we could.
Well, now, when we straighten out the Trieste corner, we're gonna have 30, 40 feet there. We can put a little hut, put a roof on it, a bench.
Well, my wife has lost her sight in the last 4 months, and she can't drive anymore, and it was like that. She can drive a golf cart because she has great peripheral vision, just straight in front, and she's learned how to look out of her eyes. She's learning how to deal with all that, but she can drive a golf cart very well, and I go with her to make darn sure, because I wasn't going to let her do it.
And why don't you take her?
Actually, I'm at a meeting today, and she wanted to go somewhere, so you know who lost
Just
that
saying,
one.
just saying.
But no, Nancy's right, and if there was a place for people to at least sit and wait for this bus to come in, and perhaps maybe a few spots for people that still can visually drive their golf carts to park them while they're on a bus ride, that would be wonderful. So I would support that. To
I've never heard
consider.
of it before, it sounds wonderful.
So-
The older I get, I'll probably need it.
Well,
And our community's aging,
yes,
you know?
yeah.
It is.
So it's a wonderful service that the county has.
Yeah.
But it only applies to part of our community that has complete access to it, so.
Can you find out if there's excess space that we can do that in that area? Where is the space that we could possibly
Well,
put it?
if you canvass like Sienna and said, could we have 5 of your parking spots?
Oh, that's a
an
good
example.
point, that's a good point.
And then, would they offer those 5 spots to us for this service?
Probably not.
That's
No,
a good
maybe
point.
not, but maybe. We put some more
Sienna?
bumps in the flowway, they'll give us in the cart path. But I mean, seriously, it's a great idea.
That's a good spot, yeah.
It's off the road.
Right,
Yeah, it's close to the guard shack, so it's gotta be.
it's undercover already. Okay, something to
Well,
bring up, good
and-
point.
And one other comment, a lot of these folks are using Uber as an alternative means of transportation. From the standpoint, does anybody care if they put on their permanent guest list Uber, so that they don't have to keep changing it every time there's an Uber driver?
That's a touchy
That's
question, I
touchy.
think.
Yeah.
That really is.
That's.
'Cause that's
If that could be almost anybody.
That is
Anybody at
correct.
any given time, yeah.
Yes. I-
Uber and Lyft, I mean, that would be,
Well, you know, if they're coming to my house, all right, and I've got Uber on my list, it's only gonna come
right.
because I've asked it to come.
But when you say permanent, they can still come through the gate. What's the difference?
Well, if they don't know it's permanent,
No, I'm not saying that. They come through the gate, they're picking you up.
right?
Gotta defer that to safety.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand, but.
Why they have to be a permanent?
Well, what, you know.
You as an
I'm talking-
individual.
I'm talking about it from the vision impaired standpoint.
Right.
It's very hard
Right.
for somebody with a vision impairment to keep going out and changing that and updating. it.
Yes, I agree.
So,
Let safety and security mull that over, figure out a way to make it happen.
And they could restrict it to just Monday through Friday or whatever day they'd have appointments and stuff.
right.
Very interesting.
I'm learning a lot.
You know, I'd like to say, my wife just joined a group with Nancy, I think is running, and it's for vision impaired, and there's probably 10, 15 people that have become members in recent, I go and I've listened, it's amazing what you learn. It's just, I never thought about it. And I was sitting next to a guy
Gotta
who,
go.
yeah, I think
Yeah, you're part-timer.
I'll just support it.
Any other comments from the board, from the committee? If not,
Make a
next
motion to
meeting is
adjourn.
the 14th of March. See you all. At some point, we probably need an update on the sunshine laws by Tony, and I think I may invite him to that meeting to do so. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make it.
Second.
Second, the meeting is
Scott,
adjourned.
is there a schedule for them to put the cement in the?
8.
Yeah.